Hi, good evening, Yogi. I'm glad you made it here for this quick 15-minute wind down Yinyasa flow for bedtime. What I'm using for today's practice is 2 blocks, a bolster, and a blanket. If you don't have any of those, you can use firm couch cushions and everything that you can find on your couch and just get comfy and cozy. We are going to start with a very yin posture and pigeon pose, and for that I like to use my blanket as well as my bolster. So you can use your bolster the long side on your mat and then set it down. This is kind of what you're hugging in. And I like to use that blanket and prop it up a little bit so it fits perfectly underneath my right hip, because we're gonna stay for quite a bit. So take your hands down, come into a downward facing dog or a tabletop if you prefer that. Lift your right leg up high, inhale, and then exhale, bring your right knee right behind that bolster and extend your left leg back. Now you can use your blanket and kind of scooch it underneath your hip, and you can bring your bolster in as close as you like as we fold over that leg. If you got into this posture and you decided this doesn't feel great for you, you can also use a block or 2 underneath your hip and really get comfy. Maybe the forearms land on a bolster or that cushion instead. And if all of that still doesn't make your knees or your hips happy, always feel free to come into a figure 4. You're leaning back on your spine with the right heel on top of that left thigh, and maybe the hands hug around that left shin. So whichever option you're choosing, we're gonna settle in and we're gonna stay for another 2 minutes in this posture. So getting comfy, getting cozy, propping up and settling in. Notice if you're holding tension in your hips, in your ankles, shoulders, or face. Allow yourself to let go and fully settle in. There's usually 2 sensations that we're encountering during a yin practice, and that is either discomfort or pain. If you feel very uncomfortable in a position, or you're just not used to it and it feels kind of unusual, then see if you can find a couple more breaths to soften into it. Our body has that instinct of holding on, of getting tense when something that we don't know is coming our ways. So notice that tension, be aware of it, and then see if you can release it bit by bit. There is no expectations, there's no goal to reach, there's nothing to do, there's just being. We're gonna stay for another 5 deep breaths. And just be aware of your thoughts as well. Instead of getting all tangled up in them, just notice them arise. And perhaps you can start to come back to your breath again. Feel it going up and down your back leg into your right hip bone. Feel it softening your face, the muscles in your shoulders and hips. Take as much time as you need to rise back up onto your hands. Around that bolster, tuck your back toes under, tabletop or 3-legged dog, right leg up to the sky. You can bend your knee or keep it straight to roll it out. Find some big movements here. And then set that foot down. Inhale, left leg up high to the sky, adjusting your bolster and your blanket. You're gonna come into pigeon pose, or again, if you prefer figure 4, please allow yourself that space. It's not important how far your front foot can come forward or how much your shin is parallel to the earth. I just want you to get comfortable for this position. So lift and lengthen the heart, and exhale to fold in. really allowing to sink and settle. And again, just notice tension in your body. Be aware of it. Notice if there is any emotions coming up as you notice those tensions. So maybe you're frustrated, maybe even angry. Maybe you feel a little bit of disappointment coming up, and if any of those emotions are connected to what you notice and observe, this is just judgment. This is you making up stories around your body, around your sensations. None of that is real. Just letting it go and allowing for your muscles to soften into it. Feeling the heaviness of your body dropping into your left hip. Trying to avoid any bigger movements. If there is any smaller movements that you wanted to do, any adjustments, ask yourself, why do I want to do them? Are they really necessary, or are they just a way of avoiding that big sensation? Big and long and soft breaths, not forced, very organic. Nothing to do. Last 5 breaths here. And with the next inhale, we're rising up onto the hands. Take your time. You can remove your bolster right away, just moving it off the mat as well as your blanket, but keep them close by. We're going to tuck the back toes under, lift that left leg up high to the sky, maybe in a down dog, maybe in a tabletop. Roll it out, straight or bent knee. And then drop your foot down, downward facing dog. Everyone, lift your hips up, press into your hands. Big stretch up to the sky from your hips. Inhale, shift onto your toes, and then walk tiny steps all the way to the front of the mat. Heels can be down or up. Shift onto fingertips once you arrive. Keep your feet right underneath your hips. Bend your knees and ragdoll. Catch opposite elbows. Let the crown of the head hang heavy. Bend your knees quite a bit here so your belly can rest on those thighs. Rocking a little bit side to side. Alright, and then go ahead and bring your arms down. Keep your eyes closed, rolling up one vertebra at a time. Inhale to lift the arms up high, look up between the hands. Exhale, sweep the arms out and down, forward fold. Halfway lift on your inhale. Ground your palms and step back 1 foot at a time into a high plank. We're going to lower the knees, then the chest, keeping your tailbone up, hips lifted. The chin comes down. Inhale, scooch forward and through, baby cobra, toes untuck. Roll shoulders down and back your spine. Lower all the way back down, bring fingertips off the mat, onto the earth. Back of the feet pushes into the earth, lifting up 1 vertebra at a time. Inhale, intimidating cobra. Exhale, lower back down. Using your breath in and out your nostrils. Inhale, lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise up. Maybe looking over the left and maybe looking over the right shoulder. And then lowering back down. Hands underneath your shoulders, press back, knees wide, toes touch, child's pose. can always take that bolster underneath your torso again for support. Reaching for a little bit more. Breathing softer and deeper. And take your time rolling forward into a high plank. And then we're gonna tuck the toes and lift up into a downward facing dog. But once you arrive, walk your feet forward, just like we did before, and bend your knees and sit down. You can use your hands as support or try to sit down with some strength. Straighten your legs forward to the front of the mat. And then keep your right leg straight. Bring your left foot outside of that right thigh. And we're gonna start to hug that knee in tight so you feel the piriformis, the outer hip, the glute area on the left leg stretch. So pull it in, lift the crown of the head. Can you ground more from the inner left foot? Lifting up taller, just feeling that compression, feeling that hug. Softening into jaw, into shoulders. Last deep inhale. Last deep exhale, hug it in tighter. Take your right elbow around that shin. If this is too much, you can also just take your hands around that knee. And then maybe left fingertips come behind you as you find that twist. Looking over the left shoulder if that feels good on your neck. Keep reaching for a little bit more. Keep hugging that knee in a little bit tighter. Last deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale to unwind. We're gonna counter twist, both hands to the right, chin to chest, forehead comes down. See if you can lift that left hip bone up, really leaning over to the right. And then inhale to lift. So if this is enough, you can stay right here and just bring that foot a little bit tighter in, maybe coming on the outer edge of your foot. And if you want more, you can wrap that leg all the way around to your right hip. Obviously, if you want to come into a deeper variation of Gomukhasana, you can always bring that right heel around your hip and stack both knees on top of each other. But because this is a Yinyasa flow and I really want you to find that ease, maybe the right leg stays straight for now. We're going to lift the heart, inhale. And exhale to root and ground into the sit bones. Really notice that pushing of the left knee down. So you guys can stay exactly as you are, and that is plenty. Or you start to walk your fingertips forward, keeping the spine elongated, flexing the right toes and feeling into the length of the right hamstring. But continue to press your left knee down. So it's not only a hamstring stretch, it's also a stretch in the left hip. Keep reaching for more. Keep deepening your breath. For the last 2 breaths, wherever you are, upright or folded, tuck your chin in and round. Rounding as much as you can, firing up the nerves in the back body. And then inhale to lift back up. All right, straighten your left leg forward, give it a little shake. And then we're gonna step that right foot outside the left hip. Hug it in, big, big hug, big lift from the crown of the head up. Breathing, reach forward from the left heel. Last deep inhale here. Exhale, settle. Left arm up high to the sky, inhale. Exhale to hug your arm around that shin bone, maybe right fingertips past your hip, and you look over, and you breathe. Finding length with every inhale and a little bit more depth from the sit bones rooting, from the thoracic spine twisting with every exhale. Last 2. Using your next exhale to counter twist all the way to the left. Again, lifting that right hip bone up so you can really lean to the left. Chin tucks down, forehead reaches down to the earth. Rounding in your spine, lengthening in your side body. Inhale to lift it up. And then you can stay, you can just come onto the outer edge of your right foot, or you wrap that right foot all the way around. Again, if you want to come into a deeper variation of Gomukhasana, I'm not opposed. But for now, maybe you just soften, take an inhale to lift. Exhale exhale, settle and root the hips down. Soften your jaw and your face. And then you can stay right here, and that is plenty. Or you start crawling the hands forward, lengthening from the sternum to the front. Notice that slight pull of the left hip back, of the right knee down. So again, it's very easy to get caught up in that hamstring stretch, but I really want you to find that pressure of the right knee down so you also feel that right hip bone activating and lengthening. Last 2 breaths. Fuller and deeper breaths into the low back. And then just for the last cycle of breath, tuck your chin in and round in your upper body. Take an inhale to lift back up. We're going to lengthen both legs to the front and shake it out. And for the last posture, I like to use a block on the highest setting and then set up my bolster so it faces me. If this is still not enough for you, and you need a little bit more, you can also take a second block, stack it on top, or you can take that blanket and stack it even higher. So just coming into your variation of that fold, you can interlace your hands around that bolster and hug in for a little bit more of a opening in your back body, your shoulder and your neck, or you can just let the hands hang down, resting alongside your legs. We're going to stay for another minute, so focus on your breath. If you notice over time your spine opens up a bit more, you can take a block away. You can even take the other block on a mid setting or lower setting. So just coming into your variation of this fold, as deep as you like. Last 2. And then slowly use your inhale to roll back up. And we're going to use that bolster to sit up tall and find just 3 rounds of box breath. And so sitting comfortably cross-legged or on your shins, lifting the crown of the head, we're going to breathe in together. And let it go. At the bottom of this breath, pause. We're going to breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release your breath out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and inhale on your own count. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Hold your breath and bring it in. Pausing and release your breath out. Hold and restrict your breath. And inhale. Natural breath. Bring your palms in front of your heart. Find a smile, a thought of gratitude. I hope you have a lovely night and a restful sleep. Namaste.